check my levels or anything like that? Here. Can I hear it now? Yeah, absolutely. Pretty loud. How do I check the volume in my own ears?
Yes, I do.
I got you.
Check, check, 1, 2.
Check, check, 1, 2.
Check, check, 1, 2. Check, check, 1, 2.
On the mic and start singing those.
Overconfident and underperforming. Really? Can you figure that out up there?
Welcome to Palatella Field for today's game between Granite Bay Grizzlies and the Sacred Heart Prep Gators. Granite Bay comes into today's game 3-0, undefeated in Northern California. Sacred Heart comes in 2-0 and undefeated in Northern California.
Welcome to Palatella Field, home of the Sacred Heart Prep Gators, for what is going to be one of the biggest lacrosse matchups of the early spring season between the Granite Bay Grizzly Bears. I think that's what they are.
It's the Granite Bay Grizzlies.
The Granite Bay Grizzlies and the Sacred Heart Prep Gators. By my estimation, two of the four best teams in Northern California. I think it's a little too early to try to say exactly what order that comes in, but two very deep, talented teams.
Face-off.
Yeah, early season face-off here. Dalkemper in against Everett Hayes, senior long stick. Not really a face-off guy like Dalkemper. Dalkemper's really a true face-off guy. Everett Hayes more of a all-purpose defenseman.
The Gators get the call.
The Gators got the call. Ball out to the Gators. Let's see if they can clear it here. This is sophomore midfielder Billy Barnes. Uncharacteristic turnover by Barnes.
Granite Bay ball now. Little substitution there, Greg, by the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Both teams settling in here in the early going. This beautiful Friday afternoon here in Atherton.
And here's senior midfielder Brad DeVito dodging down the alley. Throws behind. Fadril up the wing.
Tommy Barnes defending the point there.
Yeah, this is for the Grizzlies, an incredibly deep, older team. If you look out there, I think every player on the field right now is a senior.
Shot saved by Cody Wiebe. Grizzlies get the ground ball.
Yeah, again, senior midfielder Brad DeVito up top. Another senior midfielder, Gavin Beadle. This is Tommy Barnes, number 7 for Sacred Heart Prep, playing defense right now. Really somebody to keep an eye on all over the field. He was the WCAL Player of the Year, All-American. Will be playing lacrosse at Princeton over the next 4 years. Definitely one of the best players in Northern California and somebody to keep an eye on today.
A little pick and pop there. Doesn't work.
Let's see if the Sacred Heart can make it run across. They can't. Now in that scenario, Mike, if the ball has been touched into the restraining line and then rolls over the midline, it's automatically the other team's ball. So had that gone over.
Alex Bean scoops but loses it. Gators on the ground again, and now the Gators have full possession. Their first possession of the game here, Greg, in the early going.
Yeah,
Just
first real possession. Yeah, they had the failed clear earlier.
Yeah, the Grizzlies had the ball there for basically the first 2 minutes of the game.
You know, I think if you're Sacred Heart, you feel pretty good about that first offensive possession.
Only one real shot.
One real shot, and it was low in the alley. That's, you know, Cody Weeby's a fantastic goalie. That's a shot you want to see if you're Cody. That's a shot you're totally comfortable with if you're head coach Chris Rotelli or defensive coordinator Mo Ryan. You know, you funnel your Dodgers there to begin with. You trust your goalie to make the save. Your senior midfielder Larry Hart dodging down the wing, throws to Ramsey. Ramsey behind to senior Tom Barnes. A nice save there by senior goalie Anderson Marks.
Yeah, Marks there with a real nice save there off the point-blank shot by Tommy.
Sophomore Ben Ramsey gets a stick check from behind.
Challenge. Didn't work. Fast break for the Grizzlies. But Cody corrals and now looks to clear.
Cody looks to calm things down. Senior leadership there. Take your time. Make the right pass.
You mentioned
settle things down. Here's Billy Barnes again, touching it in.
I was going to say, you mentioned Tommy Barnes earlier now, his younger brother Billy, number 6 in white for the Gators.
That's right. You know, I think one of the things that's interesting about this matchup today, you've got some seniors on both teams, seniors on Sacred Heart, between Weeby, Barnes, Larry Hart. But for the most part, it's a younger team. Granite Bay, on the other hand, is almost every player out there who plays meaningful minutes is a senior. They've got a couple guys, a couple juniors, one sophomore, Evan Beeland. We'll see him, I think, in the second half in net. That's the way they've been going early.
Are they all alternating?
They have been so far. We'll see if that continues. And then they got a freshman named Jackson Dagner who plays some on man down, plays some on the wings. He's a really talented guy. He's definitely one of the best defensemen in his class in California. But Granite Bay is so deep and so old. He's being used as a short stick defensive player right now. For Sacred Heart Prep, it's almost the exact opposite. They have an incredibly strong sophomore class. You look at their starting defense, it's 2 sophomores, a junior, in the midfield, multiple sophomores.
Got a turnover there. What was the call there, Greg?
Loose ball push on Sacred Heart, Granite Bay ball.
Yeah, it looks like it was a loose ball push.
So the Gators came up with it. They turn it right back over. Grizzlies still maintain possession here. Still only one shot on goal from the Grizzlies.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think it's been a pretty sloppy game in both directions. A little bit cleaner for Granite Bay, but they just haven't it's really been as aggressive as you'd see. They're patient, real team.
Little dive attempt there, stymied by the Gators.
You're going to have to do better that against Cody.
And Alex Bean was right there breaking it up.
Yeah, Bean put himself
they turn it over again. Grizzly ball again. Dominating the time of possession here in the early going.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit overrated, though. I mean, I think Sacred Heart Prep at this point is 2 of 4 on their clears. I think Billy Barnes makes an uncharacteristically bad pass. Cody Weeby does the same thing. If I'm Chris Rotelli, the head coach, I'm not particularly worried about that. I think Sacred Heart Prep generally clears at a very high percentage, and I think that will be true as this game continues. I think those sort of just easy physical mistakes get cleaned up as the game goes on.
Grizzlies running a lot of pick action at the top there. There's a shot, another save by Wiebe.
Yeah, that's a more dangerous shot. You know, got up over the top of his defender, right into the middle of the field. Really positive angle on that.
Nice outlet pass there. The Gators have a little break. It looks like they're going to slow it down.
Yeah, they had one possession in the first eighth of this game now. This is freshman attackman Max Sloat.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Tell me a little bit about Max Sloat, a highly touted freshman.
Very highly touted. You know, I think he is probably looked at as, you know, if he's not the best attackman in his class in Northern California, maybe all of California, he's certainly in that conversation. You know, I think Jackson Degner, the freshman defenseman.
Heart shot.
Granite Bay that we talked about. And Max Sloat, there's another freshman at St. Roman Valley, and Charlie Eiler, who is all in that conversation. He is a very talented athlete. Started on the varsity soccer team as well this year as a freshman. So, you know, in his first year at Sacred Heart Prep, he's got 2 varsity letters already.
Athletic.
Yeah, to say the least.
Grizzlies looking to clear now after a series of 2 saves by their goalie. And they're going to bring it up again. Watch for that pick action at the top again. They've been running it almost every time there's the Gator. Midi gets physical. That's Will Peterson getting physical.
So Will Peterson's actually a converted defenseman. That's where he spent most of his career, playing some short stick D midi. That's where the Gators are so deep on defense. Let's see if they call that a push or in the crease.
Nothing.
Call that in the crease.
Oh, they did. Okay. Wiebe looks to clear it out here.
And see, this is what I'm talking about. You know, the easy pass right to the short stick. I think the possession numbers will even out pretty quickly as Sacred Heart gets their clearing game in line.
So the Gators here looking for the first goal of the game with just under 4:20 left here in the opening quarter here between Sacred Heart Prep Grizzlies and the Granite Bay Grizzlies. There's a slinging shot, I should say, by Billy Barnes, high and wide, but the Gators there on the loose to maintain possession with Max Sloat. Gets a pick, fires and scores. The first goal of the game opens the scoring for the Gators. 1-0 on Max Sloat's goal. What do you think of that play there, Greg?
Yeah, you see the athleticism right away out of Sloat, right? He had a nice picks from Ramsey. But the story there is Sloat is just too explosive as he comes over the top of the pick.
And take another look.
And I think the Granite Bay defenseman would like to have that back again. You know, number 60, Ben Mazur, I think, would hedge a little bit harder over the top and take away that topside look. It looked like, you know, one thought they were switching, the other thought they weren't.
Little confusion.
Maybe a little confusion, yeah.
So here we have the face-off here in the middle of the field again. Gorgeous March day here in Atherton, California, between, as you mentioned, 2 of Northern California's best high school lacrosse teams. Both teams coming in undefeated. As the Gators get possession again off the face-off. We have a whistle.
That's timeout by Coach Rotelli.
Okay.
And I don't think Cav Williams was able to get it touched into the box. So off of the time you have possession, 20 seconds to clear the ball over the half, then 10 seconds to touch it into the box. Off of the face-off, you have 10 seconds once you have possession, right? So Cav was not able to touch it into the corner of the box.
So Chris was worried about a penalty?
I think just a loss of possession. He was coming down to the wire there. But let's take a break right now during the timeout, and we'll be back in a second.
And we're back here in Atherton, California at Sacred Heart Prep. Michael Sachs and Greg Weigel on the call. Greg, Coach Rotelli, the Sacred Heart head coach, takes a timeout there to maintain possession. What do you expect from the Gators here?
I look this, have them get a possession here, get it around, let everybody get a touch, kind of settle in. I still feel like they haven't had the opportunity to really do that. Then I'd look to see some backside action. That's kind of what Rotelli likes to see out of his players. A midfield dodge, maybe some crease
pick right there.
And then backside action, but that's Barnes.
Yeah, Tommy there. He clearly drew that play up for Tommy Barnes.
Exactly.
Both teams utilizing the high pick. We've seen one instance where they do the pick and pop. I'm looking forward to seeing a little pick and roll.
You see, I'd like to see that a little lower down, closer to the goal line.
Yeah. There's Billy Barnes with the ball in his stick, looking to create. Gets it stripped. Now Grizzlies look to clear.
Freshman defenseman Jackson Dagner, he's the one we've been talking about. He, along with Sloat, two of the guys that are looked at as
what's the call?
The top in their class. I believe that's a timeout.
Yeah.
Granite Bay to save possession.
Scott Pink, the head coach for the Grizzlies, taking the TO.
They're first of the half.
We're going to take the timeout with them. We'll be right back here in Atherton, California. And we're back live here at Sacred Heart Prep, Atherton, California. Michael Sachs with you alongside Greg Weigel here. Beautiful day at Palatella Field, and the Grizzlies have possession out of the timeout, Greg.
Yeah, absolutely. Easy clear there. They'll look to attack again. Granite Bay, I think, very much this is what they want to do. They want to slow the game down a little bit. They're going to be methodical. Whereas I think Sacred Heart Prep, it's not as if they don't want to be methodical. They don't want to take care of the ball. They certainly want to do those things. But I think they also like to score in bunches. Quick 3-4 goals that really blow open. That'll be 1, 2,
Pick,
2,
there's your
3,
pick
3.
action again. Looking for the shot, but it was cut off there. Beck Anderson, some solid D.
Sacred Heart Prep's just switching all these picks. It's not that effective.
Ooh.
That's
Stonewall.
a good backside look.
Yeah,
nice
but
job by
Weeby
Barton
again.
Down on the check.
That was a nice play.
Sweep. Here's the high pick.
Shot low and wide. Grizzlies maintain possession. Peppering Cody Weeby between the pipes right now, but nothing's landing.
Yeah, but again, Cav Williams is there. He's in his glove. He affects the shot. It's going wide. Beadle's got to be more physical, get into his body, get down towards the goal, and then you got to ultimately put it on frame and challenge Weeby. Weeby didn't have to make a save there.
No.
And here it is again. There comes your pick.
Pick, look for the pop. It wasn't there. It was taken away again by Anderson as the shot goes wide, and this time, Gators.
That was a pass.
Was it?
Yeah, I think that was an errant pass. I'm not sure what he's expecting there. Maybe
nobody home.
Yeah, exactly right. I think the backside attackman was expected to be coming up the wing, maybe try to throw him on a lead pass like nobody was letting him.
Grizzlies not doing much challenging of Weeby on these clears. They're just kind of giving the clear to the Gators.
Oh, giving to the Gators and not challenging Weeby, I think, are two different things.
Sure. There's a shot.
That you are, when you're clearing, you have a goalie, you have 7 players to their 6. So, if you're defending that in the ride, you keep all 6 guys back, cover that up, allow the goalie to go. If Weeby ends up walking it all the way down, God bless him,
Look at the Gators on the sideline, fired up as their mates try to score, but a turnover, and the Grizzlies look to clear it.
Yeah, that's one of the things I think, again, when we talk
the
about
loose.
tendencies and sort of who
Max
these
Slope.
teams are and their character. Sacred Heart Prep's an emotional team. Their sideline is really fiery, and they have their longtime assistant coach, John Cardenti. I think that's one of the things he was known for.
A hallmark of Cardente's tutelage.
Exactly right, and I think you can see that carrying forward into this season. Cardenti might be gone, but his legacy remains.
Sure. Sean Mayle, an alumnus of this institution, on the sideline in Cardente's place, as we have a slippage on a shot there.
That's sophomore Ben Ramsey. Ramsey, fabulous midfielder, playing attack this season. You see really beautiful move. Got one-on-one and just lost his footing.
Yeah. Slipped.
Yeah, that's right.
Had a lot of rain here.
Well, it's interesting. This field was replaced, I think, 2 years ago, and it is it's like the rubber pellets they have on these turf fields now.
Ooh, wild shot.
It's a cork.
Oh, it's a cork rather than ground up tires.
Exactly right. It's supposed to be better for you. You don't get all the off-gassing is what they call it. But ultimately, it's a little bit slippery.
As we have another timeout, I think this one by Coach Rotelli, as you can see.
This is the end of the first quarter.
Ah.
So we will take a break at the end of the first. We'll be
End of the
right
first
back in a
quarter.
minute and score 1-0 here at the end of the first. Sacred Heart Prep 1, Granite Bay 0.
Kids are not allowed after
One night. It was one night. It was a one-night massacre. But,
hiding the trees from the daytime, waiting for it to go.
like, our kids like going around and play flashlight tag. That's all they have.
You have to figure out the crossing on the grounds.
I think you need a little more than a lacrosse.
Oh, there's a schedule on there too.
How are you?
Welcome back to Palatella Field in Atherton, California, where the Sacred Heart Prep Grizzlies have a 1-0 lead on the visit.
Sacred Heart Prep Gators.
What did I say?
The Grizzlies.
I confused the two. It's the Granite Bay Grizzlies
let's start with the
trailing
G.
by 1 to the Grizzlies of Sacred Heart Prep. Michael Sachs,
You did it again,
Greg
Coach
Weigel.
Sachs.
Face off here to open the second quarter. Great game so far. A lot of action, a lot of shots. Granite Bay, I think, dominated the possession, but Gators have the lone goal. As we have a whistle here. Referee signaling Grizzly ball. And now he changes his signal.
Exactly. I think that was a warding off call. And
There actually seems to be...
initially confusing because the penalty was on Granite Bay, but he pointed as if it was Granite Bay possession.
He did. It's okay.
Yep.
We're all human here.
That'll
We're
happen.
all learning.
That's right. Here we go. Sacred Heart touches it in the box. Larry Hart through Barnes up top to Little Barnes. Here's sophomore midfielder Billy Barnes. Not really challenging. You know, that's he's occupying a guy, but he's not challenging.
Looks like Ben Ramsey in now for Sloat.
No.
No?
Sloat's still in. Ramsey, Sloat, and I believe Joe Sonsini were the three starting attackmen today.
I stand corrected as the Gators turn it over now. Grizzlies on the run down the left sideline. Tommy Barnes challenging at every opportunity. Ground ball here. And here come the Gators.
His sophomore defenseman, Paul Barton. Guys are playing hard, but again, ultimately it just seems like it's kind of been a sloppy game here. Definitely a defensive effort.
A lot of missed passes.
Yeah, whoever can clean it up first, I think, is going to have a decided advantage.
I feel like the Gators have a step on offense. Do you agree?
I do.
Just a little quicker.
I would say they look individually more explosive. I think Granite Bay looks more.
And there's speaking of another missed pass and turnover for Sacred Heart.
It's been sloppy. It's early season still. 5 combined games under their belts between the two teams.
Sure.
You expect some level of sloppiness. But
a lot of rain, a lot of cold weather. This is really one of the first nice days we've had in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, it feels like 2 years, Mike. I moved to California.
It's been rough on you, has it?
It has been. I didn't move to California to sit in the rain. If I wanted to feel like Nirvana, I'd live in Seattle.
I hear you. Well, break out the flannel shirt. Here comes the Grizzlies, still looking to get on the board. Shut out so far by a very tough Gator defense. Cody Wiebe and pipe. Paul Barton, you mentioned Cav Williams. That crew on defense has been nasty. All kinds of trouble getting to the net, and the shot sails wide as Wiebe chases it down and wins the foot race to the end line. Gator ball.
Yeah, it's a slick look by Brian DeVito to begin the play. Number 16 throws a beautiful little pass out of the double team off his dodge.
He tried to take on 6 defenders by himself there at the end.
I'm talking about the guy who threw that pass that led to that play. A little too much. I think Fowler could have shot it sooner, but you see the strength able to dodge through that many guys.
Gators passing it around here, looking for a good shot, don't you think?
They're looking to invert right now with their midfielders.
There's a little pick action.
Yeah, pick action. You get your
Tommy
short
Barnes
sticks behind. You're going to attack those guys. Here's the throwback. Now Bryant Gavello will probably look to attack Beadle on the backside. Up top quickly to Sloat.
Nice little shake and bake move there by Max. Drew a double for a second now, single.
Well, Granite Bay's offside right now. They've got 7 guys in their defensive end of the field, plus the goalie. That's why they're able to get that quick slide right now. I'm not sure who
the
it
refs
was who went offside.
Not see it?
No, they're flagged down on the back end of the play.
Gotcha. Shot by Barnes.
Wow,
Low to high.
Beautiful shot.
2-0. Sacred Heart.
Beautiful assist by Ramsey, too. Throw through the defense to the backside. Barnes ready to go.
Here's another look.
Let's see the replay of this. Backside high, right into the corner. Great hitch by Ramsey. Draws a triple team before ultimately throwing out.
Yeah. Sacred Heart there killed that triple team.
That's unbelievable, actually. To have an extra guy on defense and to give that shot up is tough. That's a backbreaker.
Disappointing for Coach Pink and the Grizzlies.
Well, let's see how they can respond here. Now, this, I think, is a decided advantage for Sacred Heart Prep. Joey Dalkemper is a true face-off guy. I think he's an underrated player on their team. He did really well against a kid named Lucas Heverly at Amador Valley in their first game of the season. Heverly is widely regarded as the best face-off guy in Northern California. He'll play at Johns Hopkins next year.
Oh.
And Dalkemper was just under 50% against him. So you see it there. He's been controlling the draw. Everett Hayes has been doing well against him in terms of playing against him on the ground ball. But if Dalkemper can more intelligently control the ball out of his face-off during the exit, I think the Sacred Heart Prep should start dominating possessions off the face-offs.
Joey didn't like that call there, but a turnover nonetheless for the Gators as the Grizzlies now try to clear it up the right sideline. Facing pressure, though, on every clear. Another ground ball.
Just get it in time. This is sophomore Brian DeVito.
whose older brother also plays for the Grizzlies.
That's right, Brad DeVito. Brian plays some midfield, some attack. Brad more of just a midfielder.
2-0 Gators here. Call it 7:15 to go here in the first half. And a shot, another save by Wiebe, who's been lights out here in the first half, Greg.
What I've seen so far out of the Sacred Heart Prep defense is they've been able to contest most of the shots, if not all of them. Even the ones that look like they're open, there's a stick in the man's gloves, and they're able to get some effect on that. DeVito did a nice job getting topside. See if Barnes can finish this one, and
he does. Billy Barnes, both Barnes brothers now with a goal here, and it's 3-0 Gators.
I think Billy Barnes is primed for a huge season. That's my read on the situation. He was coming off of an ankle injury in football last season. I think that hampered him most of that. He is now healthy. He spent the offseason getting stronger and in shape, and you see it. He's a real physical presence out there. He bounces off a couple guys, still able to maintain possession before getting off a good shot. Let's pause right now at the timeout. 6:50 remaining. Sacred Heart Prep up 3-0 in the second quarter.
Welcome back to Sacred Heart Prep. Michael Sachs alongside Greg Weigel here on this gorgeous Friday afternoon, March the 8th. The Gators up on the Grizzlies 3-0 here, following a goal by Billy Barnes. Both Barnes brothers have scored here in the early going as the Gators win another face-off there with Joey Dallenberger. Kemper. Joey Dahlkemper. Apologies.
I'm sure Joey's okay with it.
Gators looking strong early here, Greg, but to your point that you've been making, still sloppy. A lot of balls hitting the turf.
Yeah, look at Alex being danced, though. That's pretty impressive.
Put him in the spin cycle, but lost the ball in the process. Gators challenging every clear the Grizzlies try to make.
I'd say that's a hallmark of a championship team. How hard do you ride? How hard do you get after ground balls? Both of those things directly lead to more possessions. More possessions allow you to be less efficient offensively and still score.
What's a good clear percentage for a really good high school lacrosse team?
Yeah, I'd say in the high 80s would be a really good clearing percentage. If you could cross into 90 as a high school team, that would be pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's college level stuff. Mid-high 90s I think would be really good. High 70s, low 80s, something like that would be pretty good.
Shot low and wide, not on net. Grizzlies maintain possession here as they try to rev it up once again. Here comes the double.
Yeah, quick double team by Paul Barton. It's classic defense right there. Stay above your guy, turn him on at the goal line, have a slide coming from behind him to meet it with the double team.
Another shot wide and low left. Cody was there. Grizzlies back it up, though.
Again,
what are the Grizzlies trying to do here, Greg?
It seems like they're, like you said, they're getting picks up top. looking really for their middies to dodge the alley and shoot off of that. Beadle gets a decent step there, but Barnes is right, mostly with him.
Another shot. That one, couldn't tell. It either hit the pipe or hit Cody's stick as we have a race for possession, and it's Gator ball. They win the foot race over there on their sideline. Coach Rotelli, Ryan, and Mayo pumped.
See if they can clear it here. They've been pretty efficient in clearing the last, quarter, basically.
Extremely efficient, and honestly, it's been rather unchallenged. As Alex Bean brings it in, and now the Gators get into their offense. One young man's name who we haven't mentioned, number 2 in white, Larry Hart, playing a nice game. Not on the scoreboard, but I like his athleticism and stick skills.
Absolutely. Well, Hart's a senior. I think what you picked up on there, Mike, is exactly right. He's a glue guy, some people would say, right? He will end up, just look at the score sheet at the end of the day. He'll have a goal or two. He'll have an assist or two. He'll pick up a couple ground balls. He doesn't make mistakes.
Shot on net.
He doesn't blow you away, but at the same time, he's reliable. And those sorts of guys are incredibly important.
I think you noticed there, before that last shot, we had a little Barnes for Barnes pick action. Billy setting the pick for his older brother Tommy. Tommy put it on net. It was saved. Gators still have the possession here in Billy's stick.
And you're seeing this double invert look again.
Nice look there to Hart.
Barnes is behind. But, what they're trying to do is you've got 4 long sticks playing defense at any time.
Mm-hmm.
2 short sticks. Put those short sticks behind and kind of flip the field. Put the defensive players in a position they're not necessarily used to playing in. Here's Ben Ramsey up top, inside to Sonsini.
Ooh, Sonsini tried a little change up there.
Oh, I think that's because he was getting hit as he was
shot. He was falling backwards.
Yeah, he was unable to put anything into it. It's like
as he gets it,
great ride,
knocks it out and gets it himself. A little break here for Gators. Oh, nice help defense. Sonsini shaking up a little bit. Looks like he's okay. Grizzlies now try to clear it up the field, up the right side.
Easily. Here's senior midfielder Cabe Teague bringing it in, gets a touch. You see William Peterson back out, number 8, with a long stick now. He was playing short stick defense earlier, so.
Switch sticks.
That's right. We got a couple guys like that for Sacred Heart Prep. Beck Anderson, number 33, who's out there now. Also, usually a long stick, playing some short stick D-midi now.
I'd imagine a coach loves that sort of versatility.
Absolutely. I think it's an underrated characteristic of a lot of young players. Guys like to specialize in things early now. I'm just a face-off guy. I'm just a wing attack man, whatever the case may be. Coaches want guys who are going to be able to make plays all over the field and in any wide variety of circumstances.
Another turnover for the Grizz as the Gators now look to bring it up. A nice long pass, but missed there by Alex Bean. Grizzlies pick it up. They're challenged, but it's going to be their ball here. Let's see what the Grizzlies have here, Greg. They're 2 minutes to go in the first half. They still are getting shut out here on the road in Atherton.
I'm not sure this is the story is as much about what Granite Bay does or does not have.
Another save there.
Versus what it is that Sacred Heart Prep has.
Sure.
They've got an incredible goalie. They've got a big, mean, athletic defense. And they do it together well as a unit, right? So you have a lot of individual talent that's all tied together in a great team concept. You look at the way their defense is playing. It's exactly how you teach. It's very disciplined. It's quick double teams off of guys' back, turning guys at the goal line, funneling guys into the alley, maintaining pressure on his hips, affecting shots as it happens. It's what you teach, and you combine that with a really strong goalie.
Tommy Barnes hits the pipe.
Score.
Chris Rotelli of Sacred Heart takes a timeout here to set up one more run here. We've got 1:09 left here in the second quarter. The Gators lead at 3-0. We'll be right back after this from Atherton. And we're back here at Sacred Heart Prep. Gators lead the Grizzlies 3-0. Minute 9 remaining in the first half as the Gators have the ball here, Greg, and look to get one more on the board before they go into the locker room.
Yeah, with a minute left here, I would expect Coach Rotelli has told his guys, take your time, get it around. When we score, we want to score with not a lot of time left.
Right.
And we want the ball to end up in our best player's stick. That's Tommy Barnes. So that's what I would expect. Don't expect to see Tommy start with it, but I'd expect to see Tommy end with it.
He's right in the middle of the field right now.
Throw it through X. Here comes him
They
on
set
the
a pick.
But they're able to get through. I think the timing on that was a little bad. Ramsey was a little too much on the ball side.
40 seconds left in the half. They're coming all the way out to guard Tommy because I think they're thinking like you're thinking. Here comes Billy Barnes, well guarded, back out to his older brother. They kick it around to Hart. Hart
I said,
shoots and scores.
Outside the net. That's on the wrong side of the pipe.
Thank you.
Look,
you were right.
Tommy Barnes is a special player. There's no question about that. I think there's a lot of other really talented players on Sacred Heart Prep that if you key in on Barnes too much, you really risk giving them easy looks. And that's what I would be worried about if I was Granite Bay, chasing him that far out of the box, really giving him that sort of attention. As good of a shooter as Barnes is, I haven't seen many guys who can score from 25 yards away.
Sure.
And so, what is the effect of all that attention? And I'd say that's a hallmark of a really good player, right? How does he affect the other players on the field just by his presence?
Yeah, and I think we saw that all first half long. I felt like the Gators really dominated the first half, both on the scoreboard and just sort of the flow of the game. It's 3-0 here at the half. Michael Sachs and Greg Weigel with you. Let's take a little break, Greg, and come back and sort of wrap up the first half and look ahead to the second. Again, 3-0 Sacred Heart over Granite Bay here in Atherton, California. We'll be right back. And we're back live here at Sacred Heart Prep in Atherton, California, where we have a great battle of Northern California teams. Granite Bay, suburb of Sacramento, playing the Sacred Heart Prep Gators here at their home field in Atherton, California. Beautiful Friday afternoon. I'm Michael Sachs alongside Greg Weigel, where the Gators lead the Grizzlies 3-0, Greg, as we welcome you back in. A fun first half, a little bit of a sloppy first half. I think we both agree. What were your impressions of the first 24 minutes of play here?
I think you hit on it. Sloppy and slow. I think that probably goes hand in hand. The sloppiness doesn't allow you to run out and play in transition. There were several instances in which Sacred Heart Prep was in transition and then lost possession of the ball in between the restraining lines. I actually think this game is going to clean up. I think it's going to speed up. I think Granite Bay likes to play at a slower pace to begin with. That's kind of, they're a little, like I said earlier, slightly more.
It was apparent.
Yeah, they're a slightly more methodical team.
Sure.
As
we look at first half highlights here, for those of you who are watching us, we appreciate you tuning in here on this Friday afternoon here. A couple highlights here, Greg. Talk us through them.
Well, the first one you saw was Dahlkemper, like I talked about in the first half, winning the ball really cleanly. Here's a ride back by Sloat.
That was a great play.
That was a great play. There's a couple ride backs by Sacred Heart Prep. This was the Barnes goal.
Which one?
Tommy Barnes.
Tommy, the older.
Yeah, Tommy Barnes. You see Ramsey dodging up the wing, drawing the triple team, throwing through to Barnes on the backside.
Here's a little D.
Yeah.
Is that Paul Barton on the ball there? In the save?
That's Alex Bean on the ball, saved by
Alex
Cody
Bean.
Wiebe. It was a pretty good shot, actually, I thought, by Granite Bay. Here's the Billy Barnes goal. You see, just takes a hit. That's Matt Salone. Matt Salone is a big kid.
That was a good goal.
Yeah, I mean, Matt
switched
Salone
hands there at the end.
As a 6-foot, 200-pound athlete, starting defensive end and tight end on the Granite Bay football team. And, Barnes absorbs it.
Oh, yeah. He took a shot. He took a lick and kept on ticking. And we're looking live here as we get ready here at the face-off X. Joey Dahlkemper getting ready to take it for the Gators.
And one thing
we should point out,
Coach
new
Sachs,
goalie for the Grizzlies.
That's right, sophomore Evan Beeland. I think this is something I'd look for in the second half. Can Dahlkemper continue to exit really quickly that?
So far the answer is yes.
And easy possessions like this. This is going to be a big factor in this game. One more.
Here comes a look for Sloat. It's saved by the new goalie coming in cold but showing up hot.
Yeah, that's a young play by Sloat. That's not a good enough shot at the varsity level against a team this good. And I'm not sure what that is.
Coach Mail over there
called
working the refs.
Called some sort of penalty here on Sacred Heart Prep. We'll see what it is.
Let's listen.
I think they're going to call it a cross check on Beck Anderson.
Coach Rotelli doesn't like the call. Push from behind on the Gators. It's going to be a man-up situation here for the Grizzlies as they look for their first goal of the game.
Is it possible to see that on instant replay? No.
No. The answer is no.
Probably
That's okay.
Probably better that way. I'm not sure that was a push from behind, but I'll tell you this. I'm glad they gave him a 30-second penalty and not a minute penalty on something questionable like that.
So we're going to have a little 6-on-5 action in the Grizzlies' favor here at their half of the field. Cody Wiebe has been lights out in between the pipes for the home Gators.
He has been, so Cody's been great. I also think the defense deserves some credit in terms of the shots they are allowing Granite Bay to take.
They've been awesome.
Right.
Grizzlies working it around here. Gators packed in tight on D. Not a lot of daylight for the Grizzlies when they have the ball. As there's a shot left and wide, but they maintain possession. Again, 3-0 Gators here over the Grizzlies.
That was a frustrated-looking shot. 15-yard shot is
point blank.
That's the shot you're looking for on man up.
The Grizzlies are on the board.
On the doorstep, Brad DeVito,
point
senior
blank
midfielder.
Granite Bay goal by number 27, Brad DeVito. Assist by number 28,
Strong response.
So Brad DeVito puts the Grizzlies on the board as we look at the replay, Greg. Little breakdown there defensively.
Well, little breakdown, but to be honest with you, I didn't get to see it. There we go, yeah.
There's another look.
Ultimately, I think what it speaks to is when you have good teams like this, you got to stay out of the box.
All right, so here we go. Dahlkemper has had a great afternoon so far, back down in the stance to take the face off for the Gators. 3-1 now, Gators lead over Granite Bay. Not even a minute gone by in the third quarter. Fight for the possession. Still fighting. Gators come up with it. Ooh. Dangerous pass there back to Cody Wiebe in the net.
Yeah, Wiebe ends up having to make a save on his own pass back.
It's all right. They all count.
Not the ones that don't go in.
Gators ball now.
And he's offsides.
And a flag.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they got him for the slash or just the offsides. I think just the offsides, only one.
We'll have to wait and
down.
see here as the Gators try to get a goal before we find out. As Tommy Barnes has it. Draws a double. Looks to move it. Back to single coverage as he swings it on the other side of the field behind the goal.
Dangerous for Granite Bay here. Ben Ramsey on a short stop.
Ramsey scores.
Yeah.
That is beautiful goal by Ben Ramsey.
And you see the way, so you had asked me earlier when we were off air about what it meant to get the backside action.
I think we just saw it.
That's it. You know, that's not so much action. You know, what you're going to look for is
here's the replay.
The ball side, you got Tommy Barnes draws the double team. He gets it over quickly to the backside. Now there's no help. Ben Ramsey, that's unfair to ask a short stick midfielder to defend Ramsey in that position.
Yeah. The defender, Matt Salone, 88 in black, was a little bit caught in between there. He had been the double man on Barnes on the one side. He comes back over. He wasn't really sure what to do there, and it cost him there on the scoreboard. It's now 4-1.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I don't know if that's Salone's fault. Like, what's the old adage? The ball moves faster than the man.
That's why you pass.
That's why you pass. So you get the ball over, you can't get back in time, and now you got a good look.
And there's the sloppy play again by Sacred Heart. Coach Rotelli over there can't be happy with these turnovers, particularly the sideline out of bounds turnovers. We've seen 5 or 6 of those now already. So it's going to be Grizzlies balls. They try to cut into this 4-1 deficit here. Gators, tight D. Alex Bean on ball as the Grizzlies swing it back. Into the middle, it's tipped, and we have a ground ball now. Gators come up with it, and they're on the break down the left sideline. Paul Barton initiating the break. Shot wide.
That's more what I expect to see from Sacred Heart Prep right there. Getting out in transition. You look at the length and athleticism of their defense. You know, Bean and Barton are both 6'4 plus.
They're good.
They're good. I mean, they look like a group of pterodactyls out there.
They do.
You know what I mean?
They do.
There was a lane, then there wasn't a lane. The space
Bean
disappears quickly.
Bean, Barton, and Williams are an impressive threesome on defense.
Well, yeah. And Williams isn't even
there's
in there
another
right now.
There's another
Peterson.
wild pass, a turnover again for the Gators. And you look at the coaching staff on that white sideline, not happy. But they have the 4-1 lead here as Granite Bay tries to again cut into that 3-goal deficit.
You know, Mike, they shouldn't be happy. They've got a really talented team who's not playing particularly well.
Another sloppy play there by the Grizzlies as the Gators capitalize, and they're on another break here down the left sideline, initiated by Beck Anderson this time.
Nice job by Joe Sonsini there.
Good look. Another good, 2 good looks in a row. The Gators, though, a little bit off on the pass there. Sloat tries to break it up. He loses his stick, and the Grizzlies are on the move. A shot. Wiebe with the save. Gators come up with the ball, and they're on the run again. Some nice up and down action here in the second half. We didn't see a lot of this in the first half, Greg.
No, we didn't, but we talked about this at halftime, that as things cleaned up, the stick skills got better, guys got into the flow of the game, things had a little more rhythm. We thought it would get up and down a little bit more, and we've seen exactly that. the fact of the matter is, when you have one team that likes to play the more methodical pace like Granite Bay does, and they end up going down a couple goals, it forces them to play faster.
No doubt. The frustration builds.
Exactly.
7:40 now here in the third quarter. Gators up 4-1 on Granite Bay. Gators with the ball, looking for another
Dangerous
shot.
again.
Tommy Barnes with the shot. It doesn't hit, but the Gators back it up.
Anytime Sacred Heart Prep ends up with Tommy Barnes, Billy Barnes, Ben Ramsey, Max Sloat dodging off of the low wings on a short stick, Granite Bay doesn't have a solution for it. They're not ready with a slide.
Here's
and
Ramsey.
That has caused them real problems.
Ramsey is quick.
Yeah.
He lost the ball, though. He's on the turf.
I think they're going to get this back one way or another.
Whistle.
Oh, wow.
Granite Bay ball. What was the call there, Greg?
Withholding the ball from play, seeing Ben Ramsey was laying on it.
He slipped.
If I were Ramsey, I would have been yelling that I had been put in that position and that he didn't deliberately choose to lay on the ball.
Yeah. Sure. But either way you slice it up, it's the Grizzlies ball here again. 4-1 deficit. Just under 7 minutes to play here in the third quarter at Sacred Heart Prep in Atherton, in California. Thanks for joining us wherever you are on the World Wide Web. Michael Sachs alongside Greg Weigel here at Sacred Heart Prep in Atherton.
Your senior midfielder, Gavin Beadle, nice move, gets into the alley. But again, so here's something I'd like you to think about, Mike. Whenever you see, or I shouldn't say whenever, but if you notice the difference between a lot of the Sacred Heart Prep dodges and a lot of the Granite Bay dodges, the Granite Bay dodges are ending running towards the corners of the field, the low corners by the goal line, whereas the Sacred Heart Prep dodges are finishing running into the middle of the field.
I think you're right on there.
You know, the difference.
You explained that well.
You know, why do you think that's important?
Because it's harder to defend.
A positive angle on the net is why it's harder. Is why it's harder to defend. Why that's so important. And if you're in the middle of the field, you can see the entirety of the net. You're going to be able to put a better shot on net, et cetera, et cetera. As you're running into the corner, you're losing angle on net, but beyond that, you're also losing the ability to generate velocity because you're running away from your target.
By the way, we've got a mad scramble for the ball here at midfield.
This is going to end up being Granite Bay's ball because Sacred Heart Prep's not going to be able to get it back in the box in time.
How right you are, Greg. It is Granite Bay ball on the technicality.
Well, that actually rolled out of bounds before they got it, but there's the touch in. Granite Bay settles things down, gets it back up to their midfield, and looks to chop into this lead a little bit.
Yeah. Now coming up on 5:20 remaining in the third quarter. 4-1 Sacred Heart leads over Granite Bay. Granite Bay with the ball. The shot. Low, bounces over the net. The fight for the ball. It looks like we're going to get a push here on Sacred Heart. It's going to remain Grizzlies ball. What do you think Coach Pink here of Granite Bay wants his offense to do? Other than score, obviously.
Score a goal.
Yeah. There's a little pick action behind the net.
I tell you, if I were Coach Pink, where I think they could do well is to sweep more out of the midfield.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let a guy like a Gavin Beadle take a run across the top of the field. They like to set picks for those guys, slip some off of that. But ultimately, they're ending their dodges too far into the corners. They need to give their guys an opportunity to get into the middle of the field.
Closer to the net.
Closer to the net, but better angle to the net.
Yeah, there's been very little straight line drives at the net from the Grizzlies.
You know, one thing that I think is also obvious, too, is it may just be that, you know, Sacred Heart Prep's defense is so strong individually that, you know, where they're going to have to get their goals is scenarios like how they scored, off of a pass to the crease and a quick shot. Because it seems like any one-on-one dodging scenario.
There's a shot and a goal.
There it is, right?
Just what you were talking about.
I think that's
goal for Brian DeVito, the sophomore DeVito brother.
That's how they're going to have to score. I don't think they can take the Sacred Heart Prep defense one-on-one. It's a beautiful look by Hyman, though.
Yeah. As we take another look, what do you see?
He rolls back, sees DeVito cutting. I'm not sure who that was. I think Barton got a little bit caught up watching the ball.
Left-handed strike there. He had a little bit of time, a little bit of room. He capitalizes. It's now 4-2 Gators lead with 4 minutes to play here in the third quarter. Another face-off.
We'll see if Joey can get it out quickly again to his wings. Plays it to himself.
Gators come up with it
quickly to a wing.
Dahlkemper, excellent job again there at the face-off X. As Tommy Barnes comes up with it and the Gators set up their offense, Greg.
Yeah, we'll see. Barnes right away with a short stick matchup. Granted, Jackson Degner is actually a defenseman, but
shot, no.
Senior on freshman. Short
Race.
stick.
Who got it? Gator ball.
Sacred Heart Prep ball.
Yep.
Joey Sonsini able to beat out Matt Salone.
Salone there, some nice effort. Gators try to work it around.
I think Billy is going to end up with this one here.
Billy Barnes.
Yeah, Billy Barnes, here he is on the dodge.
Here he is.
Throws back to Tommy. One more to Larry Hart. Now Larry's got it on the backside.
Little face dodge action. Looks to shoot. Dumps it down low to Sloat for the goal.
What
a beautiful look down on the crease. Max Sloat drives it home, and the Gators lead 5-2 with 3:07 to play here in the third. As we take another look, just a gorgeous pass, Greg.
I'd say it's gorgeous offense in general, right? Billy Barnes starts with it, draws a double team, 2 more passes to the backside. Hart, quick dodge, and an immediate look to the backside pipe for a quick stick goal. It's beautiful lacrosse.
Beautiful look there by Larry Hart to Max Sloat, 5-2.
This is more along the lines of the game we expected to see.
Sure.
Right, Sacred Heart Prep getting out and running a little bit more in transition, and much more crisp stick work.
By the way, Dahlkemper just won another face-off. Gators on a break, a spin move, ball on the ground, a flag comes out. What do we have here?
Up here for Sacred Heart Prep. I think that's going to be a hold. I call that a slash.
Slash me. At any rate, it is going to be a 6-5 advantage for the Gators here. Just under 3 minutes to play in the third. They have a 3-goal advantage. What are you going to say here about Joey Dahlkemper, number 16 in white, been dominating the faceoffs all afternoon?
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing you can say about Dahlkemper, as I think he's been 7 for 8 in this half, or maybe in the game. The only thing I could want more from him is, I think he's turned the ball over once or twice off of an errant pass. But in terms
I mean, he could have taken that last one that he won, scooped, and just taken it and scored. I guess that would be the only more you could have asked for.
He made the right play in that circumstance. He had a clean, fast break. He
By
hit
the
the
way,
point, attackman.
Turnover by the Gators. Grizzly ball now dashing down the right sideline. Nice effort there by Joey Sonsini, but it's still Grizzlies ball now in their half of the field.
Yeah, and I think what happened there is I think the Granite Bay player was just closer off of the shot.
Yeah.
The other question I would have is
ball on the ground.
Did that really qualify as a shot?
Knocked out by Alex Bean. He's had a pretty good game here, Greg.
Oh, Bean's a hell of a defenseman. Bean will be playing his college lacrosse at Loyola University, who, what are they, 3rd in the country right now?
They were. There's a shot and a nice save. Still Gator ball as Billy Barnes corrals it and passes it over to his teammate, Max Sloat, back to Barnes, and now they get into their offense.
Yeah, I think we've seen more fast breaks in the last 30 seconds than we had in the entire first half.
I don't know if there was a single one in the first half. Under 2 to play here in the third quarter. Gators lead the Grizzlies 5-2.
There's Billy Barnes. Double pick. Tommy has the opportunity to go either direction.
Beats his man, shoots it high.
That's a position on the field where Tommy Barnes really excels. When he gets underneath of his defender, can slip the stick back into his strong hand. That's a shot I've seen Tommy finish countless times.
Yeah, bet he'd like to have that back. But nevertheless, Gators still maintain possession up 5-2 in the closing minutes of the third quarter. Tommy Barnes initiating the offense.
I think they're looking to hold up here.
Defended by Tyler Hopper.
Take a little time off the clock. Get their short stick matchup against Tommy behind the goal.
Barnes loses his man, puts one on cage, but it's saved. We have a race that the Grizzlies win. Granite Bay ball. Under a minute to play here in the third. as the Grizzlies bring it up the left sideline. Foot race. Nice spin there by Everett Hayes. Hayes now is going to give it to his midi and get back on D.
Yeah, he did more than a nice job there. It's a nice clear by Hayes. And a great effort by him to get the ball, to begin with on the chase to the end line. DeVito with the rollback. There's Barton to meet it quickly.
Lost his footing, and Barton was right there.
Yep.
Scramble. Loose ball. Everyone's in on it. Who's going to come up with it? Grizzlies come up with it, and a shot low and wide is Cody wins the foot race to the end line. 13 seconds left in the quarter here. Last gasp before the whistle
Mike,
for the Gators.
That is an anxiety-inducing scenario right in front of your own net. Loose ball like that. As a coach, it is it gives you nightmares.
Let's see, is Tommy going to Hail Mary it? He does, and he scores at the buzzer for Tommy Barnes. His second goal of the game. The third goal of the game for the Barnes family, and it's going to be 6-2 Gators as we go to the third quarter break. We're going to take a break with them here in Atherton, California. Wait.
Goal by number 7, Tommy Barnes. Assist by number 33, Beck Anderson.
Welcome back to Sacred Heart Prep in Atherton, California. Michael Sachs alongside Greg Weigel. We just saw an awesome goal to end the third quarter by senior midi Tommy Barnes. A Hail Mary from around the midfield spot. Hits, and now the Gators lead at 6-2 as we open the fourth quarter, Greg.
And that's going to be Granite Bay ball. Illegal procedure on Dahlkemper playing without a stick.
One of the few face-offs he's lost today.
Yeah, I think one of two he's lost.
So Grizzlies trail now 6-2, a quarter to play. They're going to try to get back in it, but that goal right before the quarter break, a bit of a backbreaker, but we'll see. Grizzlies still have plenty of chances as they shoot, and Cody Wiebe, who's been awesome all day with another save.
And that isn't going to be good enough on Wiebe. That's desperate, falling away from the goal. Cody's going to eat that up. I think you're right. It's a tough goal to give up.
Here's Tommy Barnes
quarter,
again.
But really, lacrosse is a game of what have you done for me lately?
Much like life.
One quick goal by Granite Bay feels totally different. It's still, close. Scored another one at 6-3. Now, that being said, Sacred Heart comes out here and buries another one. Things are starting to feel pretty bleak for
Wake
Granite
the
Bay.
bus driver up from his nap.
Yes.
All right, here come the Gators on offense again. Larry Hart behind the net at the X spot.
And I think you'll see Sacred Heart Prep be very deliberate here on offense.
Joey Sonsini there.
This is a low-scoring game. you know, this isn't going to, they're not going to end up scoring 13 goals. They don't need to do that to win. With a defense like this, if you can hold opponents to 2 or 3 goals, you know, you don't need to score that much.
Hart and Ramsey, they're playing a little two-man game. Nothing came of it. Now they swing it around to the other side, where Billy Barnes looks to attack. Pulls it back out and swings it to his older brother, who wanted to take a long shot but thought better of it. Here comes Barnes again with the ball still in his stick, and he lost it. And that's going to be Granite Bay ball. Turnover there by Tommy Barnes.
Yeah, nice play by Ben Mazur to create the turnover.
Yeah, once Tommy lost it the first time, he was right on him, forces the turnover.
Yeah, good aggressive play.
So let's see what Granite Bay has here as they have another possession now. In the shadows, as this side of the field to our right is now totally covered in shadows. Daylight savings time here in a couple nights, Greg. 2 days from now, that won't be the case.
Yeah,
as
really.
we have shot save by Wiebe again.
Really looking forward to that, to tell you the truth, Mike. The way my life sets up these days, it means an extra hour once the kid's in bed. And
I hear you.
That's going to be a beautiful thing.
Let's see what the Gators have on offense. Ben Ramsey now initiating the offense over to Larry Hart.
Yeah, I think you see the message in action right there. Coach Rotelli, I'm sure.
Slowing
in
it
that
down.
Slow it down. Listen, take a deep breath. We'll get what we want. Here we see Will Garlinghouse in the game for the first time, sophomore midfielder.
Number 17 in white.
That's Will Watchhorse. We're talking 22.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
Will
Number
Garlinghouse.
22. Will Watchhorse not in.
Not in.
All right. Turnover. Grizzlies on the move here. Well defended by the Gators. Will Peterson on the cover. Paul Barton on the ball here on defense in white.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with the Sacred Heart Prep defense today, Mike.
I think we all have. Only 2 goals given up, but really they've just been aggressive, fast, and physical the whole game. Shot doesn't hit. That was a wild shot. Tried to go low to low, missed the cage altogether, Greg.
Yeah, it's a nice play, a little two-man game. They got the slip, hit him. I think Teague needs to do more with that.
Another shot.
Oh, that's off the pipe.
Ball rolling toward the midline as we have a scramble for it on the far side. Who comes up with it here?
Sacred Heart ball.
Sacred Heart ball. Great hustle over there by both teams' benches. 8 minutes to play here in the game. Gators lead the Grizzlies 6-2. Gators have the ball. In Tommy Barnes' stick, the senior midfielder who, as you mentioned, will be playing at Princeton next year. Billy Barnes, his younger brother, sophomore. Larry Hart. Over to Tommy Barnes. Back to Larry Hart. Very deliberate offense by the Gators. A little pick, a little pop, doesn't take it, but the shot deflected and wide. Gators maintain possession here. 7:20 left in the game.
It's, you know, I think that play, if that ends up in the back of the net, that is kind of the story of the day, though, is Sacred Heart Prep attacking the middle of the field and getting really good looks.
Hart at the X, looking for action. Over to Ben Ramsey. Swings it to the top.
Here's Billy Barnes.
Yep. Little pick from his brother.
Good
Refuses
opportunity
it.
for Barnes.
The shot, wide. That was a good shot, though, from distance.
Dangerous. You know, both Barnes brothers are great shooters. The ball really accelerates out of their stick.
Here's Ben Ramsey.
This is
Defended
dangerous
physically.
here. You know, Salone's a great defender, but anytime you put a guy in isolation like that,
Salone got the best of
yeah,
that battle.
They get the result they want, and a slash on Ramsey.
A little last-ditch effort as he's going to get a little penalty for that as the Grizzlies try and cut into this 4-goal lead. Nice look, but Wiebe has it in his stick, and there's your penalty. So it's going to be a man-up situation here for the Grizzlies as Coach Rotelli, Ryan, and Mail send in their PK unit.
What do you expect to see from Granite Bay out here, Mike?
Well, the high pick hasn't proved to be much. Anything they've gotten is when they, as you say, they kind of swing it around backside to the weak side, and then they can get a little sort of straight line drive to the goal. So I'd expect them to try a little bit more of that.
Even in man up?
Even in man up.
I think we'll see this 3-3 that they've been playing out of. They like to pinch their low wings, get a little action on the crease.
So what are the Gators here trying to do defensively man down?
Well, they play a true 5-man rotation. So all 5 players are kind of rotating and working together. Whoever's on ball pressures the ball. The guys next to the adjacent players have some responsibility to those guys, and then the 2 backside guys are responsible for getting in, covering up the crease.
Okay.
And then all, depending on where the ball is, different players will be covering the crease. There's no true crease defender.
And they just defended it. They just killed the man up.
They're
And
gonna
now
call
we
this
have.
They're going to call this a push from behind on Beck Anderson.
Okay, so another penalty situation here against the Gators, another man-up situation for Granite Bay. As we're just under 6 minutes to play, 6-2 is your score. Gators over the Grizzlies. Grizzlies trying to get their 3rd goal of the afternoon. There's a shot. No.
Nice save
Another
by Wiebe.
save by Cody Wiebe, who we should say will be playing next year at Tufts University in Boston.
That's right. Right now, I'd say Wiebe's the player of the game.
Him or Tommy Barnes for me?
I think Tommy Barnes has been great. Put it like this. Wiebe's let in as many goals as Barnes has scored.
Sure. Barnes had a spectacular goal at the end of the 3rd quarter.
His spectacular goal at the end of the 3rd quarter. He had a spectacular goal in the 1st quarter, I believe it was.
It was the first.
Beautiful shot on a feed from Ramsey. Wow.
And there's another goal.
That's going to end up on Billy's highlight reel.
Billy
That's
Barnes,
incredible.
his 2nd goal of the game.
Can we see that on instant replay?
Yes, we can,
Billy
Greg.
Barnes absolutely breaks down the short stick defender behind.
Here he is,
Gavin
number
Beadle
6. Watch
with
him.
the hard jab step right, comes left, and then top shelf left-handed. That young man is right-handed, Mike.
And it seemed like the defender who was covering Barnes there was expecting the pick on the backside, but Billy refused it and went the other way.
Exactly right. Just like basketball. You can use the pick. You can choose to go away from it.
Use or refuse. Barnes refuses, and he comes up with his 2nd goal of the game. Now 7-2 Gators as Dahlkemper wins another face-off, and the Grizzlies are the Gators on the attack again. But they turn it over.
See if Sacred Heart Prep can ride this back. They've been pretty effective in their ride today. They'll be able to clear it easily.
And slippage there by the Granite Bay player, and a turnover is the result. Now coming up on 4.5 to play in the game. Gators up 7-2 on the visitors from Sacramento. And we see Bryant Gavello in now for one of the first times all day, and Chris Rotelli, the Sacred Heart head coach, taking a timeout. Why do you think he wants that timeout here, Greg?
Yeah, I'm just not sure he was real comfortable with what was going on. Gavello was dodging through 2 or 3 people. I think he was worried about getting losing possession.
Don't get anything saving him. Might as well spend it.
Yeah, exactly right. You can't take it home and go to bed with it. So, 4.5 minutes to go. You still have another timeout in the bag already. 5-goal lead. That possession really matters. You can take this thing down to a minute or 2 and really kill the game.
So it's 7-2 Sacred Heart over Granite Bay. 4.5 left to go in the 4th quarter. We'll be right back after this from Atherton. And we're back live here in Atherton at Sacred Heart Prep. Michael Sachs alongside Greg Weigel. Gators with a 7-2 lead, 4.5 to go, Gator ball. Greg, Gators coming out of a timeout. What do you expect to see here in the closing minutes?
I expect to see them get the ball to their short sticks. You know, Larry Hart right now defended. Ooh, this is not what you want. That's
what do
a
we have
turnover.
here? We have a turnover here.
Over and back on Sacred Heart Prep. Once
gotcha.
you touch the ball into your offensive restraining line.
Same as basketball.
Yeah, you can't go. Exactly right.
Grizzlies in a hurry. Down 5.
Great double team by Bean.
Beans, there's a shot. Wide. Race to the end line. Gator ball. I want to say, Alex Bean's been all over this field like a lion on the Serengeti this afternoon.
You got it. I mean, not only is he good individually, but you see it there. Barton gets beat on the rollback. He's going to have a dangerous shot, and Bean is right there to stymie it. Bean just
shook the guy on the clear there, too.
But he's really good in the team concept, too. He gets it. He understands how to shade into a dodging lane. He knows when to slide.
Look at Tommy showing off some moves. Tommy Barnes, that is, who has 2 goals this afternoon, including a highlight reel goal, beating the buzzer from about the midfield line right before the third quarter ended. Here come the Gators one more time, looking to score a shot, but a save there on Ben Ramsey's rocket shot, and the Grizzlies will look to clear.
Not a smart shot there by Ramsey. 3 minutes left, 12 yards away. Just put that thing behind. Hold on to it.
Here comes a shot. Grizzlies really want to score, and they do. They wanted to score quickly, and to your point, the ill-advised shot by Ramsey results in a goal at the other end.
Exactly right.
7-3 now. Gators lead the Grizzlies as we take another look at this goal by Granite Bay.
It's just good lacrosse. Force a rotation, throw it back against the rotation.
The goal by the younger DeVito brother, Brian, his second goal of the day. So he has 2 of Granite Bay's 3 goals as they trail with 3 to play now. They're down 7-3. Face-off coming. Joey Dahlkemper at the X for the Gators as he has been all day, and he wins another face-off, just dominating that position.
Now here's something I don't understand, Mike.
Tell me.
So clearly what Granite Bay is trying to do is allow Dahlkemper to win the draw, but then try to beat him up and turn over him off of the ground ball.
Tommy Barnes.
But what they're doing is they're not shutting off the wings. So anytime that Dahlkemper has it, he's getting some pressure. He just has to flip it out to space. Tommy Barnes runs onto it, and it's an easy ground ball. It seems self-defeating. They're missing that extra piece.
I understand what you're saying, and it's hurt them all day.
It has. It's surprising they haven't been able to clean that up because Everett Hayes has actually done a really nice job on Dahlkemper. Dahlkemper's clearly been first to the ball, but Hayes has made his life miserable.
Ooh, look at that shake and bake by Max Sloat. That was an awesome move. Doesn't result in much other than a turnover, but that was a cool move.
And I'm not sure Coach Rotelli wants it to result in much other than a continued possession.
Sure.
Right? They don't need to score anymore.
They don't.
What they need to do is not allow Granite Bay to possess the ball.
As we have a whistle and a timeout by head coach Scott Pink of Granite Bay. We're going to take one with him. We'll be right back to conclude this ball game here in Atherton. Michael Sachs and Greg Weigel back with you here in Atherton, California, where the Sacred Heart Prep Gators lead the Granite Bay Grizzlies 7-2, just under 2 minutes to play. Granite Bay goal here as we bring Greg Weigel back in. Greg, what do you expect to see here in the last two?
I expect to see more of the same from Sacred Heart Prep. I expect to see great individual defense. I expect to see intelligent team defense. From Granite Bay, they need to go quickly. Here comes the best athlete.
The double high pick.
Yeah, Matt Fowler. Hard dodge. Out of a 1-4-1 with double picks. Here's a quick shot and a goal out of it.
And a goal. Beats Wiebe low.
Cape Teague off a screen shot. This is a tough one for Wiebe to see, right? The stick is
Let's take another look here,
defender.
Coach Weigel.
This is a nice look by Fowler to throw all the way back through the defense. And you see as Peterson recovers out to the ball, his body is actually hiding the stick and therefore the ball from Wiebe.
Nice shot.
Great shot. Really
7-4 Gators, minute and a half to play here.
Even better feed. I mean, that's a really high-level play all the way around. Great shot, great feed.
Hayes and Dahlkemper back at it again. Let's see if the Grizzlies played a little different based on what you had said earlier about how their strategy isn't really working.
So here it is. This one worked out a little bit better. Their wings were able to stay locked off. Not still worked out for the Gators.
It did. Billy Barnes comes up with it.
But that wasn't the scenario we'd seen before. Where
it was
Dahlkemper
different.
Wins it cleanly to himself. They slide up to him off the
a little
wing.
more competitive.
Right.
Another timeout here by Coach Chris Rotelli of the Gators. He's going to use his final timeout here with a minute 21 to play. His team leading by 3. And the referees are discussing something here. They're going to have a conference at the middle of the field. I'm not sure. Greg, what's going on here?
I'm not sure. I'm confused.
Okay, so we thought it was a timeout by Coach Rotelli. It isn't.
So Coach Rotelli, I'm sure, realized his team was not allowed to have the ball out of the box. He called timeout to try to save that. The ref intelligently did not let him do that.
Truck stick. What a physical move there by Matt Fowler. As a flag goes up. What's the call, Greg?
I think it's going to be a cross-check on Cav Williams would be my guess.
Okay. Here's the call.
I'm not sure I would have called a penalty on either team in this play. I'm not sure what this is.
So it is going to result in a man up. Okay. It was an illegal body check is the call on Sacred Heart.
On number 8, William Peterson, it looks like, judging by who's serving time in the box.
Yeah, so it's going to be a 6-5 man-up advantage here for Granite Bay as they trail by 3 with a minute to play. Obviously, they need a quick shot here. Double team. Oh, nice look on the doorstep for the goal. Now 7-5. A 2-goal deficit. Grizzlies coming on strong here in the closing couple of minutes, Coach Weigel.
Yeah, I mean, I keep coming back to 3 minutes to go in the game.
Here we see that last goal.
Oh, a little shovel pass from Fowler as he's being double teamed. And
nice look.
Quick ball movement. Find DeVito on the crease.
Ball moves faster than the man.
It's fastest sport on 2 feet, Mike. And still, the ball moves faster than the man.
It is the fastest game on 2 feet. I'm glad that you mentioned that. Grizzlies now down by 2. Face-off coming again between Hayes and Dahlkemper. They've battled all day.
Dahlkemper looked early on that.
Illegal
Granite Bay ball.
Illegal procedure against the Gators. So all of a sudden, Greg, we have ourselves a ball game as the Grizzlies possess the ball down to 54 seconds to play. Drama building here at Palatella Field in Atherton. We'll be right back. We are back live in Atherton, California at Sacred Heart Prep, where the Gators had a 4-goal advantage. That has been cut down to 2 here by the Granite Bay Grizzlies, who have the ball, trailing 7-5, 54 seconds here. Michael Sachs alongside Greg Weigel here to take you home.
Interesting here. Same setup in the 1-4-1. See if we get this double pick action up off the crease
Here
again.
it comes.
Same play we saw before, and this time Cav Williams is
Ball
just
down.
going to win the individual matchup and not even allow the pick to happen. Something else to keep
Gator ball.
Yeah, not going to matter.
Huge play right there.
Had that stayed on the turf another couple seconds, it would have been Gators' ball due to the inability of Granite Bay to get the ball touched in the box.
Chris Rotelli takes his second and final timeout. We thought he had taken one earlier. He hadn't. He takes it here for certain. 32 seconds on the clock. Sacred Heart Prep leads 7-5. We'll be back right after this. We're back live here at Sacred Heart Prep in Atherton, California, where the Gators of Sacred Heart Prep, the home team, leads the visiting Granite Bay Grizzlies 7-5. 32 seconds left in the ball game as Coach Greg Weigel gets his headset back on and rejoins us here. Coach Rotelli takes his last time out to set up what we expect to be sort of a clock-killing play.
Coach Sachs, look at this. The goalie's out of the goal, but there's still positive angle on the net here. Tommy doesn't need to do much. He could actually score, and as long as somebody's smart, they could back it up. There it is. Roll it to the goalie. That's the way
empty
you beat
net.
that double team.
Goalie playing D.
You don't need to
and here's
going to
be a goal.
But whatever.
That's going to put it away. Tommy Barnes' third goal of the afternoon. The 8th goal for the Gators. They now lead 8-5 with just 23 seconds left on the clock.
You know what I really like about this play, Mike, is this shows, I think, Coach Rotelli did a nice job setting this up, but also it shows an experienced team willing to take some coaching.
Savvy.
Yeah, exactly right. You put the goalie out on an island by himself, you roll it out, you let your attackman pick it up, and that's what happens. That's how you play that.
That's the proverbial dagger.
You got it.
Here we go, back to the face-off X as Dahlkamper getting after it again with Everett Hayes. A mad scramble for the ball. Grizzlies goalie corrals it and tries to clear, but there's not going to be enough time here. 10 seconds left. Grizzlies on the run. Ooh, a nice little scoop dodge. I don't know if that's a real thing, but it is now. 3 seconds left, and this game is going to go to the home Gators of Sacred Heart Prep. And that's the buzzer. Gators win 8-5 over the visiting Grizzlies of Granite Bay to move their record to 3-0 on the season. The Grizzlies drop to 3-1, and now we look ahead to Wednesday, where the Gators of Sacred Heart Prep get to face their next-door neighbor and rival, Menlo.
That's right. Well, the Menlo Knights, I'd say, are again in the top half of the WCAL. This is a league matchup. The neighbor down the street on Valparaiso. Anything can happen when those two face off. You know it's going to be intense. I think Sacred Heart Prep will be favored in every game they play this year, at least at home. When they go on the road back to Maryland and play Gonzaga and St. Paul's, I expect they will not be favored. But any game in Northern California, I expect they will be the favorite, including Wednesday. And Menlo coming off a pretty big loss against St. Ignatius. I think it's pretty clear St. Ignatius and Sacred Heart Prep are really the class of the WCAL this year. So we'll see what Menlo can do. They've got a couple great face-off guys. They've got a young goalie. They've got a decent defense. They've got some nice pieces, so they can definitely jump up and surprise the Gators.
Be a fun game here on Wednesday. We'll be back with you. I'm not sure when our next game's going to be, but it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Really enjoyed our inaugural game here today. Fun calling this game with you, Greg. Again, to wrap things up here at Palatella Field in Atherton, California, the home Sacred Heart Prep Gators beat the visiting Grizzlies of Granite Bay 8-5. This is Michael Sachs alongside Greg Weichel signing off for this Friday. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll catch you next time.
Cody Weed had 11 saves today.